I want to get a little more into the weeds with healthcare. I've been talking about how the U.S. is spending $4.3 trillion a year on treating chronic illness with drugs mainly. And it doesn't work, People are dying pretty fast in the United States from heart disease, diabetes-related complications, and things like that. It's not working, but the thing is, the system is designed in a way that maximizes the profit for pharmaceutical companies. And we want to remember the pharmaceutical companies also provide their products to the meat industry, because when you take, cows and pigs and chickens and you put them in tight quarters, that's called concentrated animal feeding operations. So disease is going to spread like wild there. So this means the pharmaceutical industries are making a lot of money selling antibiotics and vaccines to the animal agriculture. I don't know. Look, I'm a vegan. If you're not a vegan, I'm not here to shame you, but you might want to look at what you're doing to the planet, to your body, to your mind. Why am I here? Because when I finally changed my diet, when I realized that eating animals was killing me, then I had the freedom to stop. Before that, I thought there were important nutrients that, even though I didn't want to eat them because I cared about them, I just thought, if I don't eat, I hate to kill them, but it's either them or me. Well, I didn't think I'd be talking about that, but so let's get back to the basic issue. Whatever you think is a healthy diet, if I haven't lost you already, and other causes of health, the United States medical system is not really that interested in you. So other countries in the world, modern, or I don't know if modern is even a word anymore, but most of the other Western cultures have some kind of universal healthcare system. Just like in the US, we have socialized fire departments. Like if you have a fire at your house, no one's saying you have to pay the bill. That is a socialized service. Our military is a socialized expense. And this isn't even about socialism. It's not about anything like that. But I'm just saying this is the design of most of the rest of the developed world, or the financialized world is what I would call them. They're trying to offer free healthcare, but the challenge is, one of the reasons these systems tend to fail is that if you have, the U.S. $4.3 trillion expenditure on chronic illness is kind of like the canary in the coal mine. It's telling you, okay, it gives this notion that if we were going to somehow provide healthcare to all these people, that's going to be a $4.3 trillion annual expense, and nobody really wants to put that into the U.S. budget. I mean, as it is, the U.S., as big a military as it has, is only spending about $1 trillion a year on the military. And that's probably, it's one of, if not the U.S.'s biggest line items. It's surpassed now by interest on the debt, but we're still only talking $1 trillion, and healthcare for the whole U.S. chronic illness industry alone is $4.3 trillion. The government doesn't want to have to put that on the budget. That's why these, they say, well, how are you going to pay for it? And people try to, the government's not going to solve this problem, at least not in the U.S. But we can, you can, I can, and a lot of people who listen to this have been solving their chronic illness problems for themselves. I have. I basically was in a digestive crisis for almost my whole life until finally I figured out the cause. It was what I was eating. And then it took a while to heal, but I'm pretty healed now. If I eat the wrong thing, it can, not be great, but I used to literally be terrified of going to sleep because I just didn't know if I'd wake up choking on my own vomit. Go to a drugstore in the United States, CVS or Walgreens. Look at the row of antacids. Look at all of the medications over the counter that they're selling for all these chronic illnesses, headaches, the works. So what's the solution? Instead of health care essentially selling treatment, what we want to sell is a new lifestyle, diet therapy. And we want to help. There's so many aspects of our lifestyles in the West that can be transformed profitably. Because remember, that $4.3 trillion, when I look at that $4.3 trillion, that's my money. I want that. I want a piece of that. And I want you to have a piece of that too. So, there are a lot of people who are doing ebooks and things like that, but the kind of marketing is, it's the beginning. It's the beginning of what could possibly be a really large wellness industry. And then you've got, corporate wellness. Like corporations have a pretty good vested interest in keeping their staff well because they have to pay the insurance for these people in the US. And the same principle goes around the world. All the governments that are paying for healthcare and treatment, what if they could save a lot of money? They probably won't initiate these things because the thing is, as soon as you get the government trying to tell you what to eat, people are going to resist. And that's natural because no one really wants to be controlled that way. You really need to create an opportunity for people that they can self-align with, that they can say, you know what, I like this better. That's why people bought iPhones instead of Blackberries. It's like, and they bought Blackberries instead of dumb phones. And then they bought, dumb cell phones instead of the landlines, right? Is a progression. So we're at a moment where there can be some really wonderful progressions in the field of human health. Because most people just want to be happy and healthy. And they're turning to unhealthy foods and unhealthy lifestyles to try to scratch that itch. But you can see it's not working very well. And you don't hear a lot of stories about how they don't know. Like I grew up, my parents both struggled. My father ended up having a stroke at age 70, and he lived to age 88. So the last 18 years of his life, they were really encumbered. He really couldn't fulfill that vision. And my grandfather as well. He decided to retire, I guess, at age 62 in 1972, and suddenly had lymphatic cancer and died. He had all these beautiful retirement plans. He'd worked hard. He'd started a business with his brother-in-law, and they did well. In 1972, he bought one of the first Mercedes Benzes in St. Louis where I lived, and I was only 12. He let me drive it. He was really looking forward to being retired. He had all these plans, and suddenly, boom, that's the end. So quality of life every day is so important. And for those of us that get it, it's like, I wish that I knew then what I know now. My life would be so different. My family's life would be so different if what we're talking about in terms of diet therapy and how to prevent and then also reverse chronic illness. I mean, this is a real science now. It's not just some oddballs. There's just thousands and thousands of people with results. But of course, no one's really properly monetized this so that it can reach a scale that can compete with the pharmaceutical industries and the hedge funds that own hospitals and all that. They don't make money when you're healthy. They have no incentive for you to get well. Does that make them bad people? Not really. Not that many people are going to be pioneers. And the people who want to be pioneers often suffer financially. If you want to be a pioneer, I'm offering you a path into your passion, your vision, whether it's the ones that I care about or what you care about, where you don't have to sacrifice because the opportunities are so big. Structured properly, you can have the wealth that you want for your lifestyle as well as fulfill your vision. And the way you know that you're actually succeeding in fulfilling your vision is because you've grown your wealth. How do you know an apple tree is flourishing? Because it produces way more apples than it needs to reproduce. So I want you to go out there. I want you to be an apple tree, and I want you to have thousands of, you know, your progeny, shall we say, metaphorically. Metaphorically, I want you to influence thousands of people and succeed and build this culture of health and well-being. And you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You know, I spent 40 years getting to where I am, and just skip 40 years of mistakes and just get going right now. And you don't have to get rich first, as I've said in other videos. You just have to get started.